That sinking feeling when someone's affection suddenly disappears once they no longer need your help, it's a pattern that cuts deeper than simple manipulation. You become acutely aware that their warmth wasn't about you as a person, but about your utility in their life. This experience touches something profound in the human psyche, a pattern that Jung recognized as both universal and deeply significant. Beneath the surface of these relationships lies an intricate dance of unconscious patterns. You're not randomly encountering users and manipulators, you're engaging in what Jung identified as reciprocal unconscious dynamics. When someone's love appears only in moments of need, both parties are acting out deeper psychological scripts, often without realizing it. The roots of this pattern often stretch back to childhood, where many first learned that love and usefulness were intertwined. Perhaps you discovered that parental attention increased when you were helpful, or affection flowed more freely when you met others' needs. These early experiences create a template that shapes adult relationships, programming you to unconsciously seek situations where your worth is measured by your utility. In the depths of the psyche lies what Jung called the archetype of the useful object, a universal pattern of relating where one's value is tied to function rather than essence. This isn't just personal psychology, it's a fundamental human pattern. Some people naturally gravitate toward this role, finding a strange comfort in being needed, even as they resent the conditional nature of the attention they receive. Our tendency to attract these dynamics isn't random, it serves a psychological purpose that will begin to unravel. As we explore the origins of this pattern, you'll discover why being valued for utility rather than essence might feel painfully familiar yet oddly comfortable. Section 1, The Caretaker Complex. Picture yourself as a young child, learning the unspoken rules of love. Perhaps you noticed how your parents' face lit up when you helped with household chores, or how tension dissolved when you became the family peacekeeper. Those moments created a powerful imprint: love flows more freely when you're useful. This wasn't a conscious lesson, but rather a deep programming that shaped your understanding of relationships. Like a sapling bending toward sunlight, you naturally grew toward what brought emotional nourishment. They create the perfect conditions for developing a caretaker complex. When a child's emotional needs go unmet, they often discover that becoming indispensable offers a substitute for genuine nurturing. The caretaker role becomes a survival strategy. If you can't be loved for who you are, at least you can be valued for what you do. This complex takes root in your psyche, growing stronger with each instance of earned affection, each moment of conditional approval. You become the reliable one, the problem solver, the shoulder to cry on. Your inner child learned early that love must be earned through service. Like a skilled performer who must keep dancing to hold the audience's attention, you developed an unconscious belief that rest or self-focus might lead to abandonment. This creates a peculiar form of hypervigilance, constantly scanning for ways to be useful, seeking opportunities to prove your worth through action. The weight of this vigilance is exhausting, yet the alternative, simply being, without doing, feels terrifyingly vulnerable. The wounded part of your psyche, still carrying those early lessons, orchestrates your adult relationships with remarkable precision. You find yourself drawn to people who need fixing, to situations where your help is essential. Even in balanced relationships, you might unconsciously create crises to solve, problems to fix, just to ensure your position as the indispensable one. This isn't manipulation, it's a child strategy for securing love playing out in adult scenarios. Past patterns shape your present relationships through invisible but powerful mechanisms. Your heightened sensitivity to others' needs, your quick jump to help before being asked, your discomfort with receiving, these aren't random personality traits. They're refined survival strategies from a time when being useful felt like the only path to connection. Understanding this pattern doesn't immediately change it, but awareness creates space for new choices. As we explore the unconscious dance between helper and helped, you'll discover why these dynamics feel so familiar yet ultimately unfulfilling. Section 2, The Unconscious War. Behind the surface of your helping behavior lies a deeper truth: you attract users because part of you needs to be needed. This isn't conscious manipulation but a complex psychological dynamic. Like a moth drawn to flame, you unconsciously seek situations where your worth can be proven through utility. Your radar for people in crisis, your ability to spot someone who needs saving, isn't coincidence, it's a finely tuned instrument created by your psyche to ensure you never face the terror of being worthless. They find you because you're unconsciously broadcasting availability. The shadow of your own neediness, the part that fears being unnecessary, creates a magnetic pull for those seeking someone to use. This creates what Jung called a mutual unconscious contract. They get someone to depend on, you get proof of your worth through their dependence. Both parties fulfill roles they deny needing, acting out a dance of reciprocal wounds. The user isn't just taking, they're giving you something vital, confirmation that you matter. Projection plays a crucial role in this dynamic. Your disowned neediness gets projected onto those you help, allowing you to manage it from a safe distance. When you rescue others, you're unconsciously attempting to rescue the helpless part of yourself. Meanwhile, your capability and strength become a perfect screen for others to project their dependency needs onto. This creates relationships that feel deeply familiar yet ultimately unsatisfying, each person playing out their unconscious script while genuine connection remains elusive. The fear of worthlessness without utility runs deeper than conscious thought. Like an actor who's forgotten they're performing, you've internalized the role of the useful one so completely that existing without it feels like death. This isn't mere anxiety about being unloved, it's terror of non-existence. Your constant readiness to help, your difficulty saying no, your discomfort with receiving, these aren't personality traits but survival strategies against this core fear. The thought of being loved simply for existing, without doing anything, feels not just unfamiliar but somehow wrong. Your compulsion to be needed operates like an addiction. Each time someone turns to you for help, you get a hit of validation. Each crisis you solve, each problem you fix, temporarily quiets the voice questioning your worth. But like any addiction, the effect is temporary. No amount of being needed ever fully satisfies because it's addressing the symptom rather than the cause. This compulsion will continue driving your relationships until you face what lies beneath, the wounded part of you that learned to trade utility for love. As we explore paths toward healing, you'll discover how to break free from this unconscious war. Section 3, Healing the Core Wound. Your journey toward wholeness begins with a radical notion: you are worthy of love simply for existing. Before any achievement, before any help offered, before any crisis solved, your worth is already complete. This isn't just positive thinking, it's recognizing a truth that got buried under years of conditional love. Like learning to breathe after years of holding your breath, allowing yourself to exist without proving your worth feels both terrifying and liberating. Start with small moments of simply being, noticing the discomfort that arises when you're not being useful, sitting with it until it begins to soften. They say healing happens in layers, and the core wound of conditional love runs deep. Begin by witnessing the young part of you that learned to earn love through utility. This wounded inner child needs your attention now, not your achievement. Create a daily practice of internal dialogue, ask this younger self what it needs, what it fears, what it longs for beyond being useful. As you build this relationship with yourself, you'll find the compulsion to earn love through service gradually loosening its grip. The healing comes not from doing more but from being with what is. Setting boundaries becomes possible only when you truly understand that love and worth aren't earned through endless giving. Start small, practice saying no to minor requests, allowing others to solve their own problems, sitting with the anxiety that arises when you're not immediately jumping to help. Notice how people who value you only for your utility might fall away, making space for those who appreciate your essence. This isn't selfishness. It's the necessary recalibration of relationships based on authentic connection rather than unconscious contracts. Moving from utility to authenticity requires a fundamental shift in how you engage with others. Instead of scanning for ways to be useful, practice being present. Share your thoughts, feelings, and needs without apologizing. Let others see your vulnerability alongside your strength. When the urge to fix or help arises, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this from freedom or compulsion? Allow relationships to develop naturally, without the pressure of proving your worth through service. This transition might feel exposing, but it opens the door to genuine connection. Learning to receive becomes your most profound practice. Start noticing how you deflect compliments, minimize your needs, or quickly turn others' offers of help into opportunities to give back. Challenge yourself to accept kindness without immediately planning how to repay it. Let others support you, not because you're in crisis, but simply because they care. This receptivity isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strength of allowing yourself to be loved for who you are rather than what you do. The path to authentic love begins with this inner revolution. As you heal the core wound of conditional worth, you'll find yourself naturally attracting relationships based on mutual appreciation rather than utility. Your value never depended on your usefulness, it was always there, waiting to be recognized.